Hey, welcome back. This is Kenny with Blended Blinds, and today we're going to be focusing on shutters. We're going to discuss the top 5 things to consider when making your shutter purchase for your home. Starting with material. What is the shutter made of? Some materials that shutters are most often made of are wood. Wood, naturally, just that, is wood, which is then painted or stained to create the shutter. And then we have composite. Very similar to wood, composite is actually very small particles of wood, like sawdust, which is then compressed together to make a board, which is then again painted or stained. And then there's MDF board. MDF board is very similar to a very dense form of cardboard. While MDF board will actually bring down the overall cost of the shutter, I wouldn't highly recommend MDF board because it does not allow the shutter to live up to the durability factors that other materials offer. And then it leads me to the Eclipse brand shutter. The Eclipse brand shutter is made of a complete poly-resin material. The advantage of the poly-resin material is that it allows the shutter to be guaranteed not to crack, chip, fade, or warp. It is also completely water resistant. The advantage of the water resistant feature, while it is in the interior of a home, is that if your window is open and it's snowing or raining outside, the moisture coming in through the window will not negatively affect the shutter in any way whatsoever. Personally, I like to have the window open during the spring or fall months when there's moisture outside, which allows some breeze to come through the house, but helps keep the moisture from entering the home. Moving on from material, we talk about color. While shutters are available in a wide variety of colors, personally I would recommend white, vanilla, or almond. Oftentimes, a lot of my customers will match the shutter to the windowsill or the trim through their home. The advantage by doing that is that if you ever decide to paint or change the color scheme of your home, you won't have to factor in the look of the shutters, and that is they'll continue to match. Most people don't often paint the windowsills or the actual trim of their home when they're changing the color scheme. Moving on from color, we're going to talk about the tilt option being either ultra clear view, which is what you see here, or tilt bar, which I have a small sample of here. The tilt bar has a small bar that controls the louvers to two of them open or closed. While the clear view, you just grab one louver and they will move. For instance, this particular shutter has what's called split tilt, which allows one set of louvers to operate independently of the other. We'll talk more about that in a future video. Moving on from ultra clear view or tilt bar, we have louver size. There are 3 different louver sizes to consider when making your shutter purchase. There is 2.5 inch, 3.5 inch, or 4.5 inch louver sizes. When choosing the louver size, it is important to understand that the size of the louver determines how far apart the louvers are when they're in the open position. The wider the louver size, the farther the louvers will be apart, allowing more light to enter the home. This shutter here particularly is a 3.5 inch. The 3.5 inches actually seems to be the most common selection when people choose the louver size for their home. Moving on from louver size, we're going to go to the style of the frame. There are several different options of framing style for the shutters. The frame is what frames the shutter, surrounding the shutter while it's in your window. This particular style is called trim. Another option to consider may be what I showed you earlier, which is bowl nose. This is great for straight lines, very simple, polished look, while the trim is very similar to crown molding. We also have a Z-frame, or they call this a deluxe trim frame. There are many framing options to choose from, and that's something to be discussed during your in-home consultation to decide which framing option is best for your home. Well, thanks for taking time out of your day today to talk about shutters. Remember, if you are in the Colorado area and you'd like to schedule an in-home consultation, be sure to go to our website at blendedblinds.com. And if you like this video, please click the subscribe button to join our channel.